All right, so recently Cody Rhodes was talking about the possibility of turning heel, which I am totally on board. Not right now, but in the future, of course. But more so what he said about turning heel and how he sees turning heel and the importance of what he feels should be a heel. And for the most part, he talks about like you need to go scorch earth. You need to have it where they don't like you, like almost on the borderline of being canceled. Talking about certain people and things and groups and stuff like that. A traditional heel in a way. Um, and to be honest, I I agree with him from what he's saying. Cause I was like, I know that he wouldn't go to necessarily to the depths of scorched earth or talking about a certain neck of the woods of people to a certain extent. There's lines to everything or whatever, and but I also understood like it's like I like once again we'll plug their podcast. Steven Larson at Going In Raw talked about that they disagreed and they were talking about how Cody talked about how like you need to basically be a heel for necessarily the crowd, where they was talking about you need to have it pertain necessarily to the story, and also kayfabe, and also how everybody are more in depth of knowing about wrestling and stuff like that nowadays. And I was like, I don't think they're necessarily wrong. I think both of them should be merged, but I do think that while what they're saying is true of like the storyline, all the other stuff, because the storyline can sort of do the work of basically proving who's a heel. The problem is that the storyline also will sort of just dictate that it doesn't really even matter at the same time either. Um, and while yes, everybody's more in depth and stuff like that, I was like, I do think that to me, a heel should like, yes, we don't have to do the like foreign heel kind of thing or nothing like that, or you're just an a hole or something like, or, but you do need to be a heel to me for really the crowd portion of it, because Cody talked about how nobody's really a heel, and I've sort of been saying this as well too, that there's no really thing as a heel anymore. You want to like baby faces, there's really not that either. Like think about it, who's really a baby face? Cody and Jay. Like yes, there are baby faces, Kevin Owens, but he's really just a badass. Randy Orton, that was like kind of a badass. Um, you know, I was like, who are truly heels here? Logan Paul, truly a heel. Uh, Dom, and heel. Uh, I was like, after that, I was like the bloodline now, the bloodline. All of them are heels. Then after that, everybody is just sort of like a badass. Like, is Drew a heel? I mean, yeah, he gets booed, but even in storyline, he's not really a heel. Because I was like, all this stuff makes really hell a lot of sense in a lot of ways. CM Punk, he's sort of doing some a-hole things, but guess what? He's going to get cheered by everybody. So therefore, he's not going to be he's never really going to really be a heel. So what I'm saying is that Cody's right that for the people, there really is no heel because they're going to cheer you. We cheer more so the bad guys than the good guy. I was like not saying that we don't cheer like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is a good guy. He's a baby face. Um, Not saying that we don't cheer for them, but let's be honest, you only can do so much at the babyface that you can do with the heel. The heel has like everything that it has in its arsenal, whereas the babyface really doesn't. And I think that's why a lot of stuff is limited to where it's just easy to be a badass. But the problem is that while that is true, like there's not that really many heels that are just doing dastardly things. Everybody just sort of just being a badass and just you know and in storyline sometimes it's a little bit like that. Oh, Chad right now is a heel. Chad Gable is a heel. I was like, yeah, but you see like the extent, and I was like, I think that's where Cody's trying to say. I don't think Cody trying to be like, you need to necessarily get canceled, or like he said, you need to be on the verge. And guess what? Some of the stuff that Chad Gable do is really PG sort of version of getting canceled. I was like, he's not. I was like, he ain't body shamed Otis. He ain't said nothing misogynistic to Maxine Dupree. He ain't said something a little racial or nothing like that to Kira Tozawa. I was like, because those are lies that no matter what type of heel you're trying to be, guess what? You kind of can't, especially nowadays, compared to like if it was like the 90s or the 2000s of like wrestling, that you could get away with. And I'm not necessarily saying going back to that. What I'm saying is those things are just not going to cut it anymore, no matter what show you're on and stuff like that. But that's sort of the line where you're being a jerk. You're just being a jerk about things. Your sensibility about things is basically, you're like, now everybody is Thanos. Yes, he's a bad guy in the story of our superheroes, but, and while what he says is like, oh man, that sounds really extreme, but his motives are the reason behind it. You're like, oh, I do get that part. I do understand what you're saying here, even though I don't get your method of going through this way. So I think that Cody I think he has the best chance of being a heel, because I think he understands the story, but I think also going with the crowd. Now, how he was sort of doing AEW and was talking about in that situation with Steven Larson talked about was really good, was the fact that some like his interaction with the crowd, it works as an interaction, not as a main thing. So like, if like, say for instance, the crowd is like, we want tables, you show tables, and then you're like, haha, and you push it back underneath there. All right, that's pretty good. But if they're over here just like wanting you to do the move for the match, and you just like, I'm not gonna do those moves, and then it's kind of like, okay, what's the story behind it? It's like, cause I'm just not. Then it's like, oh, well, that just sucks. That's sort of different. That's not necessarily playing with the crowd or anything like that. That's over here just depriving the whole match, and it's not really also adding anything to the story. That's where it's kind of like, well, this is just dumb for you to do that here. But I was like, don't get me wrong, all like stories have been great and stuff like that, but I do think that there's really no bad guy. There's really nobody that's like, oh, like even like he talked about The Rock was not really a villain. And he's like, he was really just The Rock as an asshole. He really just, and we sort of just didn't like him because he was taking a spot from Cody, but he wasn't really a bad guy. Or we didn't like him because it's like, now he's on the board and he could tell you what to do, and he's like your boss, more so than, oh, he's a villain. There's no villains, they're just like, bad guy. But like I said, CM Punk can be a bad guy, as we sort of seen in some of the previous stuff. I was like, he can be a bad guy, but guess what? He's not gonna be a bad guy. I was like, Drew got motives to where it's like, yo, you don't have to be doing that, but I do get why you're doing that though. So never mind. Yeah, I was like I said, Chad, he gets to be over here. We just don't like Logan. I like the bad bloodline. Look what they had to do in order to be turning the heels. Bronson Reed, I was like, he's a heel, but he's not a heel. He's just there. I was like, Ludwig Kaiser, close. But like Gunther, he's a heel, but he's not a heel. So I think that's where it's like outside of Dom that we just boo relentlessly, but it's really not even that he's a heel. It's really just because he, that type of heat, that there's nobody really that you just like, yo, I hate that guy. Good character work, but I hate that guy. There's nobody like that. And who knows if that's even really possible? Really not. I like nowadays, because we don't know these characters in depth the way that we do. But that's also why I think that Cody does have a chance to really do that, not just because of how he already thinking about this and already wanting to do heel work, and probably has learned and want to do it in a different way than AEW. but also the kind of like the guy that he is. Like everybody knows and made the stuff like him being like a politician. There's that. So there's already that part of it, but also the fact that it's like he manipulates in a way that's like that's really not a babyface thing. Of like, oh, you move this chess piece over here, you move this chess piece over here, you get your way, you say these things in order to make sure that things follow a certain way and all this other stuff. The stuff with the suit, like yes, that I was like that's a thing that can also turn on him in that same ending. He did the thing with Homelander and promoting the boys, and it's like you do this kind of that's what you are. You're just on the side of good right now until you're not. But he has all the tools to basically be a heel and do things. And I'm like the people would go against, using your power to affect this way, thinking you're smarter than everybody, and thinking you're above everything. So he's already sort of in the right spot to do those kind of things. And quite frankly, I'll be excited when he does turn heel. I was like heel. I was like, look, I like heels. I was like, I think the bad guy is more interesting. I'm just like everybody else, but I was like, but I actually want there to be somebody that you just really don't like, and I think that'd be good to actually have that type of person within the parameters of the lines that I guess will probably be set because somebody's gonna tell him that you can't do that, and he's gonna have to be like, okay. Anyway, what do you think? If you've seen the Cody stuff, what about it? What do you think that we really do have any actual heels? Do you think we could have heels like that, or is everybody that's a heel is really just an a-hole bad guy kind of combination, bad gal combination? Like Rhea, not a heel, gets to your way too much. Nia Jax, she's a heel. Tiffany, no. Yeah, I mean they're a heel, but no. Chelsea, no. Yeah, she's a heel, but no. Shayna Zoe, I don't actually know what the hell they are, to be honest. But anyway, let me know what you think about heels. The like between babyface and heels, not the shoes. But until then, peace.